name's Gavin and this is Genre Books, and it's time for another tag video. I've been tagged again by the fantastic Book Chat with Pat, who I've just noticed is only 3 subscribers from a 500 subscriber milestone, so if you haven't already, please do go and subscribe. And this is a tag originally conceived by Carl at Please Read Your Book. The time and place tag is only 5 prompts long, so let's see if I can keep my responses mercifully brief. Question number 1. What's a book that reminds you of your past? And I'm going to say the plays of Samuel Beckett. And the reason I choose these, and there's quite a few there. You've got Waiting for Godot, Endgame, Crap's Last Tapes, Joe, plenty more. They're some of my first sort of independent excursions into literature. These plays were some of the first things I picked up from the school library that really did grab my attention. I think it would be fair to say that at the age I did start reading them, I probably missed a lot of what was going on. Some of these plays can be quite abstract, and I think it helps if you've seen some Beckett productions to realise what you're quite getting into. But in terms of reading plays, they are actually quite helpful in some respects. Beckett is nothing if not meticulous in laying out exactly the stage directions which he wants to follow, and I believe his literary estate is very particular when people put the plays on, that those stage directions are followed. But for angsty teenagers with plenty of questions, I think they're a fantastic and very brief nice welcome into the world of literature. Prompt number 2, a book that is set in a place you would like to visit but you have not. There are plenty of places I haven't gone to. I think travel writing is a great way to cover off some of these, but I'd say to begin with, I really would like to visit China, if for no other reason it gets me another chance to extol the virtues of Jeff Dyer to everyone. This is one of his books of travel writing, and does visit China during this book, and as usual with Jeff Dyer, it's fantastic. Just across the water from China, I've not visited Japan either, and I am currently diligently still ploughing through Shogun by James Clavell for my March of the Mammoths pick. I realise I'm never going to visit feudal Japan, and to be honest, I'm quite happy about that, but I do intend to get to modern day Japan at some point. But to bring it even closer to these shores, a place I've not visited that I would really like to visit is Italy. And with Italy there's obviously a wealth of literature. You could pick from any Roman writer, but I think I'm going to go for sort of been thinking of books I have read, maybe Nathaniel Hawthorne's The Marble Faun, or perhaps Giorgio Bassani's The Garden of the Finzi Continis. I'm not visiting the Italy from the past, but I think when you go to Italy you would encounter quite a lot of that past. Just drop me off at the Uffizi and pick me up in a week. Prompt number 3, a book set in a country that you admire. For the country, I've picked Switzerland. Yes, I have got close enough to Italy to be able to see it from the top of a mountain in Zermatt. I'm struggling to think of books by Swiss people. I suppose, I'm not going to pick Heidi. I've actually gone back to plays again, oddly enough, for the second time in a short video, and I've picked Travesties by Tom Stoppard, which is set in Zurich in 1917, and it's just a really funny, provoking piece of work based around the conceit from Tom Stoppard once he realised that Lenin, James Joyce and Tristan Tzara were all in Zurich at the same time in the middle of the First World War. What would happen if they were all in the same social circle? And he picks as the focal point for this a fictitious British, I think he's either a diplomat or administrator at the embassy, a guy called Henry Carr, and the play is his reminiscences from 50 years after the events of the play. To be fair, I could have said I admired Denmark and still chosen a Tom Stoppard play and picked Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Dead, which is, another fantastic piece of work by Stoppard. But yeah, I'm going with Switzerland this time round. Prompt number 4. A book that is set in a city, province or district that you live in. Nothing immediately sprang to mind about the town, although in the village, I'm closer to this village than I am to my own town centre. The village over the way is where H.E. Bates used to live, and where he set his Darling Buds of May novels. They're not really my thing, but they were very popular, both at the time and in the 1990s, when there was a very popular television adaptation of the books with David Jason and Catherine Zeta-Jones. I don't have an H.E. Bates, I don't have a Darling Buds of May book, but I do have this by H.E. Bates, who was writing under a pseudonym for this very slim volume, Guild Books. This is a Guild 6, so I believe this cost sixpence in the Second World War. Guild Books was a conglomeration of a number of publishers who got together during what was a resource shortage during the Second World War to put out small, short, punchy, patriotic little books. And this is How Sleep the Brave and Other Stories by Flying Officer X. And Flying Officer X is H.E. Bates. But what else could I pick? My commute to work takes me along roughly the same route as the pilgrimage from the Canterbury Tales. So if I can pick it from a piece of literature from my commute, that's probably a famous one to go for. A nearby A Road is the setting for a car chase in Moonraker by Ian Fleming. Although if you drive down that road now, you can appreciate why they didn't choose to replicate that particular area to have a car chase in the movie. But something that people who might remember the Walt Disney film starring Patrick McGoohan may recall is something that is fairly local to the area, and that is the Romney Marshes. And I'm going to finally pick The Further Adventures of Dr. Syn by Russell Thorndike. So the Dr. Syn adventures he is basically a masked avenger who plies his trade, his heroic trade, on the Romney Marshes. Final prompt: a book set in the future that you feel is or will be realistic. Now, the trouble with books set in the future is that they are far more likely to be a dystopian future than a utopian future, because quite frankly, utopian futures won't have the drama that sells books. But the bad news is the dystopian futures are probably more correct than the utopian ones. But if I maybe want to borrow from the last prompt to bleed into this one, something which I think is set in around the area I live is Russell Hoban's Ridley Walker, which is a post-apocalyptic book, although very post the apocalypse, and shows life being brutish, nasty and short in an illiterate, decimated future England. If I want to cover a lot of bases, I read at the end of last year or the beginning of this year, can't remember what, I think it was the end of last year, I read The Doom of London by Fred M. White, which is a short work and really is of half a dozen sketches of things that could befall London and by extension the rest of the country and the empire. And there's a lot to choose from in this book. There is a deluge of snow and ice which brings the city to its knees. There is not an attack, but there is an incidence of killer smog which paralyses the city, and considering at the time this was written, there was a killer smog that did happen in the early 1950s. Another story tells of a large outbreak of diphtheria, so, sexy reading there. There is a stock exchange collapse that brings the country to its knees. There is a double whammy of a drought which brings the Thames River to a virtual trickle, and then that's compounded by an outbreak of plague. And there is one scenario which I don't quite remember properly or understand, which is essentially all the tunnels in the London Underground blow up, and it's something electrical or something atmospheric. I can't quite remember what, but that's probably the only one I read thinking never happen. Everything else absolutely good. However, I want to try to end on an optimistic note, so thinking of writers who write optimistically about the future, and I've been reading quite a bit of him this year, so he's probably uppermost in my mind, but I think Arthur C. Clarke does a lot of this. He's very rose-tinted when it comes to thinking what the human race could achieve. If I'm feeling glass half full, I'm going to go with Rendezvous with Rama. Let's see us get a message, or not a message, but a visitor streak across our solar system, find a way to intercept it, and do a little bit of honest to goodness solar system exploration. Until the next time I struggle to recall books I have read, goodbye.